So welcome, our beloved, brilliant Senator Galvez. We so appreciate your consistent leadership and all the work you do on behalf of so many Canadians, coast to coast to coast. So that being said, as always at SETC, we begin all things by giving thanks to our Creator, by acknowledging all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We acknowledge all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Senator Galvez, can you please share a bit about your remarkable work and background with us?
Thank you so much. Thank you for this invitation. Well, you know, I'm a little Peruvian from the mountains, from the Andes in Peru. And my grandmothers were one from the jungle and one from the Andes. And they had so much traditional knowledge. They were so wise in so many aspects. But I was, you know, a person with likes of the maths and the physics and the chemistry. So I decided to be in the engineering field. And already at the time it was tough because there were not too many women. So I was sitting in a classroom with 500 guys and me the only girl. So it was tough. But I like studying, I like maths, I like physics and chemistry, and I like nature. I do this to both my grandmothers. And yeah, and I met by pen friends a Canadian guy from Quebec. And we were pen friends for, I think, 9 years. And so he came and we married in Peru. And we had 3 beautiful children. When I immigrated to Quebec, to Montreal, I did my master PhD. And fast forward, you know, I was a professor, and then in 2016 became senator for Quebec, for Bedford, at the Canadian Parliament. And I have been chair of the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee. I've been a member of National Finances, a member of Transport Committee, and the Special Committee on the Arctic Development. So it's busy life. Shrink in I don't know, maybe 1 minute.
That's remarkable, truly remarkable. Your body of work speaks for itself, and just the candor, nobility, and sheer authenticity you bring to every space you're in. So I just so appreciate you and all that you do for so many. So my next question is, what's inspiring you right now? What's lighting your fire? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at nights?
Oh my goodness. I think I'm an anxious person because yes, several nights per week, I wake up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and I'm thinking, you know, there are so many pressing issues, but thanks God, there are so many very strong figures that are showing us the way. And young people, I really enjoy. I was a professor at university for 27 years working with young people, and I see some people think that our models must be old people. I think that role models can have any age. And I admire Greta, but I admire also the Lady Mature in Ontario. And of course, I admire so many other figures, female and male. We are talking about Brian Mulroney today because he passed. And, you know, I remember all his fight against acid rain. And he was a progressive conservative with act locally, but think globally. And, you know, he also contributed so much to fight apartheid in South Africa. So, yes, there are so many figures. You just have to turn and you just have to have your eye open and see that there are many people working on the issues of having a sustainable planet, a sustainable economy, a solidarity in our society, and taking care not just for our generation, but also for future generations.
I couldn't agree more. Intergenerational collaboration is literally the reason why I'm alive. I've stood on the shoulders of giants, and I've received mentorship and guidance from so many elders that were so important in my life. So I couldn't imagine a future in which we didn't solve some of these pervasive challenges without the young and the elders and those in between. All to make sure that our ascendants, those that come after us, are walking into a better world than we found it. So once again, I applaud your leadership and your candor. So my next question, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your colleagues take to overcome these challenges and barriers?
Oh, there are a lot of challenges. It's not easy. You know, we see that sometimes some people shortcut because their greediness is high. Sometimes people, when they are in power, this is too much intoxicating, and they become intoxicated with power, and they forget why they wanted to be in politics. You know, I've been called sometimes you're an activist, but I said everybody that went to politics went there because they wanted a change. They want a difference of the status quo. So they were actually activists. So it's not really an insult. Actually, I take it as a compliment, because that means you are active on what you are predicating. You're walking the talk. So yes, the challenge is that, you know, some people believe that the way we've been working and operating is still acceptable. And it's not. It's not, because we have a finite resource planet and we cannot have an infinite growth economy. It just doesn't match. The fact that, you know, Canada has its overshooting day just this week, I think. So that means in just 3 months, we have exhausted all what we should have used in the whole year, you know? So in the 70s, Canada used to have its overshooting day at the end of December. So what happened between the 70s and now? We are consuming too much, overconsumption. And so these are challenges, and the status quo and the business as usual are there. And people that adhere to these old ideas that we cannot leave the Stone Age because we are missing stones. You know, we got to a different industrial level and innovation, not because the lack of resources, but because we found better ways of doing the same thing, more efficient ways. So it's the time to leave petroleum, to leave coal, to leave gas, and to adhere to what is there. The renewable energy is there, you know, solar, wind, biomass, hydraulic, tidal. There are so many, and everybody in each country must find its own way, its own path to change, to be more sustainable. So there is challenges, there is opposition, there is resistance. And what are the methods that I use? Well, I will start by being, you know, showing solidarity and showing that the status quo is not, it's unacceptable, because we are causing too much damage to people with environmental racism, with intoxications with contaminants. I will show that, you know, the planet is warming, causing extreme weather events, appealing to the logic. Really, people are logical and they understand the rationality. And so far, so good. But there are some, you know, that it's more difficult. It's more difficult. Not all the sectors are doing equally. There are sectors that are moving faster. You know, for example, in health, I can tell you that doctors, nurses, psychologists, they are so active in this area. I can tell you that universities are working so much, so hard. They are disinvesting. They are trying to make a circular economy inside the universities. Mining on some elements, some minerals, they have become more sustainable by financing sustainable activities around the mines. But there are other sectors that, you know, are stubborn sectors. So oil and gas is still there fighting very hard. They all want to be the last barrel exported in the planet. And unfortunately, our financial sector is lagging behind. And without the financial sector, we know the things move where we put the money, where we put the effort. So if our financial sector doesn't help us, I actually think that it's not very nationalist, because we are relying and waiting and expecting that the financial sector will be the catalyzer for our transition, but they are not moving at a reasonable pace. They are moving like a snail pace. And so these are the challenge, but we have to find more arguments and to convince. Anyway, the arguments are coming, the destruction with extreme weather events, the impacts on health, smokes, wildfires. So the arguments are coming. It's just a matter of time.
I couldn't agree more. It's just a matter of time. There was a time when someone with my size, my complexion, was sold as a piece of cattle. There's a time when it would be illegal for me to read and write. There was a time when it would be illegal for you to vote, let alone be a Canadian senator. So everything is a matter of time, and I think it takes activism and leadership and sheer tenacity and courage to speak truth to power. And that's why I just applaud your consistent leadership on the climate file and on all the files that you operate on. So my next question is, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. Yes. So I've been supporting several environmental legislation. I've been very active as president of the NF committee on studying and scrutinizing bills, environmental bills, putting amendments there. I have myself tabled the Climate Alliance Act S243 that I invite everybody to read about, is to guide our financial sector and to align them with our climate commitments. And so this is important. I have other initiatives, such as, for example, thinking that we can give judicial personhood to natural bodies, to the St. Lawrence River, exactly as we give to the McGill River, or to the Oman River in other parts of the world, or in Colombia, to the forest. So I think we need to change the mind, change our mindset. And for that, we have to be bold, and we have to bring completely different ideas that, of course, they will shake the people. But I think that by shaking them, it will make them reflect that we cannot consume in the way that we consume. And we have to go back to the values that were there already, the solidarity, cooperation, sustainability had another names, durability, or see next generations. It had the same name, but no, sorry, it didn't. It had other names, but it meant the same, to think beyond yourself. So I'm doing that. And of course, one important part of my work is diplomatic parliamentary diplomacy. So to talk also to other people of our continent, the Americas, but I just came back from the Emirates, which is a country that has relied so much on petroleum, but they are aware that petroleum is finishing, is ending. So they are diversifying their economy. So I was thinking, if they can do this, and petroleum is all of their economy, it was all of their economy, and they are shifting, how we can say we cannot do that? It's no. So I think that by talking to everybody and by seeing what works in one place, or telling them how to do better, and sharing information, sharing technology, transferring knowledge, that's what I'm working very hard these days.
You're working very hard. I've sat at many tables with you. You were the first person to teach SETC about the Climate Aligned Finance Act, and that's led us to those discussions. So once again, my dad always told me that power attracts the worst and corrupts the best. And I think you are the opposite of that. So we need people like you in prominent, powerful positions to just not just speak truth to power, but push us to a place where maximalism doesn't always win, where there is sentiments that make sense for those that come behind us. So my second last question to you is, what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
I want to accelerate this transition. For sure, we have the science, and more action on climate and pollution is a consensus around the whole planet. Polls in every single nation tells you that. Even in Canada, 70% of the people wants more action. So we know where to go. We know what are the steps. but we are moving at snail pace. So we need to accelerate this because we are in a race. What is going to become first? The destruction of more and more extreme weather events and warming and loss of biodiversity? Or are we going to be smart and we are going to be the real Homo sapiens? Because so far we are Homo, but I don't think that we are very sapiens. and change and see us as what we are, all connected. We are all connected. One planet, one health. Whatever happened to us, we saw the COVID show it to us. COVID didn't broke the system. COVID showed a broken system. And it shows that we are not independent. Everything is one single thing. So economy is there. Society is bigger. And the environment englobes everything. And it's not that economy is in a different planet, you know? So I think that the more people understand this and the more we talk and the awareness is raised and education is raised, everybody will just say, okay, I have to do something by myself. And this is a recipe for the anxiety in young people. I talked a lot to young people and I said, I know you are anxious about the future, but if you engage in action, your anxiety will calm down, and then it will give you energy to think more globally and influence the people that are above you and the people that you guide.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So my last question, do you have any calls to action or closing thoughts for our listeners and our viewers?
Yes. So we think that we are in our corner and that we are very different. And sometimes the media is trying to, emphasize our differences, when in reality, I'm talking to you and I feel like I know you. And that, we can be brothers, we can be sisters, and we are so similar. As I said, I was in the Abu Dhabi. It's a different religion. It's a different situation, men, women. It's a different situation politically. But I'm talking to them, and then we find that we care about the plants, we care about the fauna, the flora, we care about the children, we care about education. So instead of finding what makes us different, let's find what makes us the same.
That's beautiful. Commonality and interdependence. Senator Galvez, I so appreciate you and all that you represent, all the values you bring to all the tables that you're at, and your just consistent visionary leadership and all that you do for so many. And as always at SETC, we close the way we began by giving thanks to our Creator, by giving thanks to Sasiya, Mother Earth, by giving thanks to all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Senator Galvez, for all that you do for so many.
Thank you, Victor. Take care.
Take care.
Nice having you.